Testing 1, 2. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Just doing a sound check, everybody. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. So we're going to start soon. Bring up the rabbi. Okay.
Hi everybody, Erev Tov. My name is Rabbi Mangold, for those of you I haven't met, and we're so happy that you're all here tonight, and we're honored that you would come be part of such an important moment and an important time. And we're so glad that you guys helped to make this happen and that you're here tonight, Steve, to lead the way and teach us about this awesome project that you put together to inspire so many people and tell stories that need to be told over and over again. And the hope is that now all of you who are here tonight will continue to tell these stories. So thank you both very much, and we just couldn't be more honored that you're here.
Thank you.
Welcome to the premiere of the Jewish Journal of Greater Boston's movie, The Hostage. Excuse me, not The Hostage. My name is Matthew Swartz. I'm the president of the Board of Overseers for the Jewish Journal of Greater Boston. And I'm glad you all came tonight. It's a very powerful documentary. So I just want to thank Steve Rosenberg and Mark Steele. Mark is our producer, our editor. Hi, Jim. And after the film, we're going to have a Q&A between the rabbi and Steve Rosenberg. And after that, there'll be questions from you guys in the audience. And then after that, we'll have some dessert and coffee. Okay?
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you all for coming out. We're going to just show the film first. It's a 20-minute excerpt of the 45-minute film, Hostage. And like Matthew said, it was produced and directed by Mark and myself, Mark Steele. Mark's a very celebrated filmmaker, and I've worked with him for many years. So we're just going to run this film. Just a little caution, if any of you are queasy, the subject of this film is going to bring up some stuff. If any of you have PTSD or anything like that, you may want to think twice about watching it. There's a lot of stuff in here. Okay.
الله أكبر هايو الكلاب هايو. On 7 October, Hamas broke the border and come to Israel with the guns and come and killed people and bomb cars and make this day very black forever.
עד נכון לאוקטובר 7, אם היית שואל אותי, תתאר את עצמך, או תשייך את עצמך לאיזה חיה, אז הייתי קורא לעצמי ציפור. כי באמת החופשיות שלי הייתה זהה של ציפור. היום אם אתה רוצה שאני אגיד לך מה אני מרגיש, אז אני עדיין מרגיש ציפור, אבל עם מטען ששוקל המון המון על הגב.
I don't remember if we heard shooting before we got the announcement or after, but there was a message sent out through the kibbutz WhatsApp group that they're terrorists in the kibbutz. We must lock our doors and windows and stay in the safe room.
Families were burnt alive. People were burnt alive and killed and raped and tortured on the 7th. And, I still, until today, hear stories about what happened to some of the families and some of the people, and it's very, very difficult.
Yes, 6:29 in the morning, I see rockets come out of Gaza to the Israel, and everybody start to run. Each one to the place first to take the stuff, to go to the car. Many terrorists of Hamas on the way, waiting for the cars. And we start to hear heavy people shot.
הכל השתנה, מסביב הקצב התחיל להיות מהר יותר, מאנשים רוקדים, זה הפך להיות אנשים שבורחים.
What I see people out of the car cry. A lot of terrible, like, yes. I don't want to say that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And we ran back with another alarm, closed the door, closed the window, and I remember looking at Keith, and we both said, it feels like the end of the world. It was a terrible, terrible day.
Between 10 and 15 terrorists, civilians, whatever they were. One of them, I remember, was dressed in a uniform and had a rifle.
And after 4 hours, we started hearing the Arabic from outside and them shooting the house from the outside. And then we heard them stepping next to the door. The door just opened. There must have been something like 15 terrorists trying to shove themselves in, shooting at us, screaming at us. They pushed us and they broke Keith's ribs. They shot on us and one of the bullets hit Keith's hand.
I was in a state of shock, obviously. Well, I was, but I consciously was trying to be more disoriented.
When the Hamas is coming, he shot first the police officer because he got a gun. All the people who got a gun, first the Hamas is killed. And after maybe 2 seconds, I see the Hamas terrorist with the RPG, shot RPG. I listen people like say, mom, 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 and after a second, like two, with the Kalashnikov and the mag, and you know, it's like a lot of cry changed by quiet, but it's quiet like he's dead quiet. You know what I mean? It's terrible.
They pushed us into the back seat. I was on the right, Aviva was in the middle, and a terrorist sitting to the left of Aviva, holding a knife, long knife, like right in front of our faces.
And when we arrived to Gaza, we saw all the people standing and clapping their hands and saying Allahu Akbar in Arabic and shooting up in the air. And they were just happy. The first day, we were taken underneath the ground in a tunnel. And they brought Gali Berman underneath the tunnel with us. He was full of glass in his feet. He could hardly walk. He was full of blood. They beat at him and opened his head at the back.
I wasn't sure they were kidnapping us until we started to drive. And then on the way, thinking maybe, to just let what's going to happen.
And when I saw Keith that he was white and in so much pain because his ribs were broken, and I saw Gali with all the blood and the way he looked, and then a couple of minutes later, the Goldstein family came down.
And Chen told us that they had murdered her husband and her oldest daughter in their home, and then kidnapped them in their car.
And I was just trying to figure out how to help them, how to hug them and help them after coming to Gaza. A couple of minutes after they'd seen that their father and their sister was killed in front of their eyes.
He's locked me, very aggressive, he locked me, and I not moved the hand maybe 6 months after. He looked at me very strong and take me to the road, and what I see like 70, 18 terrorists, Hamas terrorists, with a gun, with sniper, with a mug, with a bomb, with RPG, it's crazy. You see like a big army on the Israeli ground.
We were in shock. We were just in a complete and utterly shock. They were sitting there smiling, playing with their guns in front of us, and we didn't understand what we're doing there.
Then they blindfolded us and drove around, and then they brought us to a home, into a home, and down into a tunnel.
פתאום אנחנו שומעים בערבית, שפה זרה. מבינים מי מגיע. לא ברור. הם מתחילים להקיף אותנו, אנחנו נמצאים במסתור, 360. כולם מתכווצים, עוצמים את העיניים, מחזיקים את הידיים, ממש מעגל של 8-9 גברים ונשים, שמחזיקים את הידיים. הירי מתחיל, מטבח אפס, הם עומדים מעלינו, מתחילים לראות. ואני אומר לעצמי, בוא נראה איך זה מרגיש. טוב, אני הולך למות, אבל בוא נראה איך זה מרגיש, הכדור, איפה אני אחטוף את הכדור. ממש הירי כאילו מעליי, ואני עובר איזה 10 שניות. אני שואל את עצמי, אתה חי? אתה מת?
They brought in Gali, and he was covered with blood. And he told us they had kidnapped him together with his brother and Emily, also from Kfar Aza.
We were treated in the worst way that any human being could be treated. We were threatened all the time. I was pulled by my hair and thrown into the bathroom one of the times. And the worst moments for me was really to see what they did to Keith and what they did to the girls. One of the girls came back from the bathroom after one of the Hamas terrorists touched most of her body. And she's young and she was shaking, and I'll never ever forget that moment. I got up and gave her a hug, and when he came into the room and he saw me hugging her, he started screaming, and I felt like in a second he's going to just kill me, just for hugging her.
And he come to me, and the car is go, and after 5 minutes he stop, and he take my hand and say Israeli, Yahudi, Israeli, and everybody come to me and hit me. And you see kids, really kids, like all these 4, 5, 6 girls, boys, everybody come and hit me.
I was brought into a room where I saw a woman being beaten, woman hostage being beaten. I saw this woman lying on her back on the floor. Her hands were tied together and her feet were tied together, and they had covered her mouth. So she was lying with the soles of her feet like this. And 2 of the terrorists were beating her with a rod. Like they took turns, the 2 of them. One would beat, they would give it to the other one. And the third one, as I came into the room, was in the corner. And then I was like standing next to this woman, and he came around and he put a rod to her forehead. So he was standing behind this woman, and like with the rod, applying pressure to this woman's forehead.
And then one of the days, one of the girls was called out, and the Hamas terrorist, with a gun in front of her eyes, told her to get dressed. And while she bent down to pick up her hijab, because we had to be dressed like Arabs while we were moving, she said that she's scared that they're going to take her and she's going to be alone. And while she said that, he took her hair and he threw her on the floor and put the gun in front of her eyes and said one more word, I'm going to kill you.
And then one of them had a pistol, and he put it to her head. He put her like she was down on her knees. She was on her knees. And he put the pistol to her head, and he said if she doesn't confess, he's going to kill her. This was like right in front of us.
And they took her and they said that she was lying, and they beat her to pieces. And when they were beating her, one of the terrorists came in with a stick, like with a rod, and he was like hitting the door and hitting the cupboard just to show us that he's the boss. And when she came back, she was sitting and crying like a baby. I'll never forget the way she was red all over, and her hair was standing. They covered her with the blanket and they handcuffed her, and they were just beating her.
It wasn't consistent, but extreme, severe violence that I both experienced and witnessed others experiencing.
And with a big knife, he pushed me, and he pushed me to the small tunnel, very big, very small tunnel. He's opened the door of the tunnel on the ground, and he shoot me inside. And when I go inside, he's open a flashlight and tell me go inside. And he pushed me with a knife on my back, yes. And he pushed me and he go quick and shut up. If you talk or something, I kill you. And I pray a lot inside to the God, and I make some deal with him. And I say to the God, please, if you're gonna kill me, shoot me and do it quickly. Don't do it by knife or by hit me, because I got a son and I don't want to grow with a big hate just because the father, killed by this way.
They had control on us on everything they wanted. They didn't bring us food many, many times while they were eating in front of us.
Well, I was threatened. One of them threatened to kill me. He pointed a pistol at me. We were like right next to each other, and he said, "Now I'm going to kill you." And he like went. He said, "Now you're dead." And then he took it and he put it. This is a real pistol with a magazine, like the bullets inside of it. And then he put it to his forehead and he said, "Now I'm going to kill myself."
After 49 days, the Hamas terrorists come to me and say, tonight I'm gonna kill you, like this, because one day before the IDF is kill his family. I feel the hate from inside of this man, and I am sure 100% I'm gonna die. He's gonna shoot me.
We touched death underneath the ground.
I experienced several periods of extreme starvation. I thought about the Holocaust and Holocaust victims. And I was thinking, pictures in my mind, in my imagination of people that have been starved and what they looked like.
He come to me, he come to everybody in the tunnel, and he say he's come with a cutter, and he say I need to take one finger and to the boss, to the commander, because many kids die today, and we want to blood for blood.
And some people believe that, or some people say they can feel people from afar, maybe even know how they are. So I was hoping somebody would be able to, that I would be able to send a message and somebody would receive that message to know that I'm alive.
It was a crazy time, and no word can explain what you over inside day by day by day by day. But these people is very, very bad people. Is not normal people.
I would say to them, the terrorists, thank you, like every day before I went to bed, and anything. They let me go to the toilet, thank you.
I can say that when Gali and Zivi and Omri and Matan and all the other hostages that were alive came back that Saturday, it was one of the happiest days that I've ever had in my life. I felt like I was born again. And of course, the day that Keith came home, and Liri and Agan that we were with in Gaza came back. I can't explain the happiness that I had in my body. The happiest person on earth.
I can testify. I know the truth. I know what I experienced. I know the facts of what I experienced. And this is what I talk about. It's not something that I heard from somebody or read somewhere. I was held hostage by an evil organization. By an organization that did evil things.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
It's okay to sit here?
Yeah, wherever you want.
Let's make sure this is on. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for being here with us and sharing this with us.
You're welcome.
I know there's a lot of heaviness in our sanctuary right now, and I think we all just need a moment to just digest that. I know I do. I'm glad I wrote these questions down. So what inspired you initially to take on this project and to go out and interview these people?
This is my fourth trip to Israel since October 7th, 2023.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question of the audience?
You can do whatever you want.
How many people here have been to Israel since October 7th? Great. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You raised your hand. Are there any Israelis here, can I ask? Great. So we did okay on the translation? Okay. Thank you. So this was my fourth trip. I've been to Israel a lot over the years.
Yeah.
So many of us were greatly impacted by October 7th. I have family there. My sister lives there. I have a lot of friends. I get emotional thinking about it. So as a journalist, you always want to get a story that no one else has really got or has documented. And the last 2 Januaries, I wrote long stories about Israel, the war. But I thought, the released hostages has got to be the most unreported story. Israel fought a war for 2+ years, 2 years, and a lot of it was over the hostages. 252 were taken on October 7th. So I wanted to know how they were doing. What's the reality of being a hostage?
Right.
What's it like to be in your home or at a party dancing, happy, waking up, watching the sun rise, having your coffee on the kibbutz, leading a normal, mellow life, and then the next moment you're dealing with one of the most extreme things a human can deal with. So that story wasn't really told. We've heard about it, but it wasn't really told enough, especially in America. And now that all the hostages were back, I had an opportunity. I was already interviewing one released hostage. So I thought, this is the best story to tell. Why, because it's really a story of hope and belief. That's how these people survived.
Right.
And love. And we can talk about that, the things that kept them alive. But I did it because it's an underreported story. And we filmed it because on October 8th, 2023, even on October 7th, people were denying that it was happening. Right in Cambridge on October 7th, there were 33 groups from Harvard that put out an endorsement of the attack. So they were denying it right away, and I remembered that Eisenhower had sent film crews to 12 concentration camps, and some of that footage was shown at the Normandy, I think at a trial. But anyway, he believed that they would deny the Holocaust, which of course that happened. So that was one of the things I wanted to do, was film it. And I had the idea of showing it publicly so people could understand what these people went through.
Right. How did you take care of yourself through this process? How did you prepare mentally to hear these stories and to bear witness to it in that way? And then how did you take care of yourself after?
I've done a lot of work on extremism. I've been making films about Hamas for 30 years. I've been in prisons and in UNRWA camps. I've sat with people who have killed dozens and dozens of people, many times. Terrible people. So you just get used to it. Journalists get used to these things, but we never get used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that you just deal with. Like right now, I'm watching actually Hatufim, the hostage, the prisoner of war show on Israeli TV. I'm watching it again. It's an intense show, by the way. So I'm processing it that way.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I would love for you to share just what are the anecdotes or the stories that really have stuck with you that you heard from these individuals that have transformed you that you want to share with us. Maybe some of them we already had seen. Maybe there's others that you want to share.
Well, I interviewed 4 released hostages, and I want to identify them. So the American who spoke English like an American is Keith Siegel, who's from North Carolina originally. His father was a pediatrician and a professor at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Mm-hmm. And his wife, Aviva, is from South Africa, but they both made Aliyah when they were very young. And they lived on Kibbutz Kfar Aza, which is less than a mile from the Gaza border. If you walk very slowly, you'll get there in 12 minutes. Mm-hmm. The other 2, Yosef Chaim Ohana and Elkanah Bochbot, they were at the Nova Festival, which was about 3 miles from Gaza. That's where over 300 people were killed. And many hostages were taken there. So I found them to be all incredibly courageous. They had a spark of life in them that they found at the deepest depths of, the worst situation possible. Think about it. They were starved. They were beaten. They didn't talk about being sexually assaulted, but we know that men and women, both men and women, were sexually assaulted while they were being held. They had everything taken away from them. They could barely go to the bathroom like once a day. A shower for them was being given a bottle of water, like a plastic quart bottle, and just on your body once a month. So they really lived without so much. But they all found this strength thinking about their families, their children, their friends, their parents. Keith Siegel talked about this pretty extensively, the practice of mindfulness, being in the moment, in the present. And he was like, how am I going to find hope? And he's so strong, and he was saying, I'm going to find hope through love and the people I love. So he said he got to see it. He was inspired because he hadn't seen light in 6 months. And he saw just a ray of light. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to send a message to my mother. And his mother was in North Carolina. She died while he was in captivity. And then the next day he's like, I'm going to send a message to my wife and children. And by the end of his captivity, he was sending his energy and love to over 60 people.
Wow.
And he was growing as a person. And all of these people found hope, like I said, in the depths of this horrific tragedy. It's really amazing. It's a reflection of the human spirit and a rejection of the worst behavior a human can exhibit.
Absolutely. Thank you. What would you hope would be like our takeaway, and like what would your charge be for all of us and for all of those who watch this and read this to go out into the world and share it? Like what would your hopes be?
My hope is that they'll remember what they said, and more than anything, they'll remember that this really happened, that Israel was there for a reason. They cared about getting their residents back, and I really just hope people will remember that it's kind of a triumph what these people accomplished, even though they will, every moment of the day they might struggle. But it's amazing what Israel and what Israelis have to do just to get through a day. And this is a reflection of one of the worst days in modern history for Israel. But what I hope you take away is that you'll remember that this really happened. That's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you were to do a part 2 of this, what would be your vision for the next story?
I would just meet with them. Hopefully they're all alive. They continue to live.
Great.
Some are young. The youngest one was 25. It was like 23 when he was taken. I hope that they find some kind of tranquility, some kind of peace the rest of their lives, and that they're able to enjoy their life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to open it up to questions if you're ready for that.
Sure.
We would love to invite all of you who have questions to please feel comfortable raising your hands or passing a mic around, actually. So please raise your hand. Thank you very much.
I've had a problem with the whole thing on October 7th. What happened for 7 hours? We always had the belief that the security system was so sensitive that even if a boat came near anything, it would be a warning. What happened for 7 hours? Have we ever had that answered yet?
So the question is, what happened on October 7th to allow the attack? Israel is going to have to do a formal investigation and create a commission to do that. Then we'll know. To date, they really haven't. So no one knows.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing it, and I really agree that the stories that happened there, the devastating tortures, are not told in the world, not enough, and not in the U.S. However, I have to say that in Israel, these stories, we lived them for 2 years intensely. Ziv Koren is one famous photographer who took his motorcycle on October 7 and tried to save people and documented a lot of what was happening. And since then, for 2.25 years, he escorted Mia Shem, one of the hostages, the one that had to go through a awful, quote-unquote, surgery in her arm by Hamas. So we do live the stories that they went through. In Israel, I'm not really just Israeli, I'm Israeli and American, because I'm here for several decades. And I travel a lot to Israel, and we live these stories. They're told a lot in the newspapers, in documentaries. This is the life of Israelis in the last 2 and something years. And it's a story of hope, but I have to admit that my heart still breaks, because I know for a fact that a lot of them, of course, their life changed forever, and a portion of them would never rehabilitate. So we have to remember that as much as the human spirit is strong, for some of them it's the end of good life.
I just want to respond quickly to that. I think there's a disconnect here in America. Jews are not as affiliated as they used to be. And there was just a big report that just came out in Boston, but these reports have been coming out all over America that I find shocking because I'm an older person. But younger people may not, which is, this is an enormous amount of anti-Zionism among younger American Jews, which I found astonishing, but maybe I shouldn't. So while there is a number of people, hundreds who are really deeply connected, I think, to Israel, there's I think a big majority that is not. It's another reason to show this film.
Yes. I want to thank you for making such an important and strong documentary. It really gave the truth of what these people went through. And just to continue what you just said, my question is, how are you going to promote people to see it? And who are the people you're aiming to? So yes, there are a lot of Jewish young people that are anti-Zionist, even Israelis that raised their kids here, their kids became anti-Zionist. And of course not talking about students, non-Jews. How are you going to promote this and show it around? What's your plan?
That's a good question. Well, the first showing after this is going to be next Thursday. We're going to show the film in its entirety at the Warwick Cinema in Marblehead. We have two showings, a late matinee, I love saying that, 4:30, and 7:30 p.m. So everybody's invited to see the entire film. We're right now speaking with other people about showing it. The film was just made in the last 6 weeks. All this was done in the last 6 weeks. Wow. It took me, and my wife Devorah is here, we were in Israel for several days and then she went home. And even while she was there, I was so nervous because I was trying to line up these interviews. I spent a lot of time lining up these interviews. So it took me like 10 to 12 days just to line up the interviews and to convince people, yeah, you can talk to me. That's another part of being a reporter, is getting people's trust. You know? Yeah, we're going to continue that discussion. We hope to have it shown, widely.
So, one of the younger hostages that was taken in and was beaten by, as he described, children ages 4, 5, and 6, boys and girls. How did he and others say they dealt with the feelings of anger and possibly hatred that they would have for their kidnappers and for the people of Gaza, specifically children?
Can you raise your hand? Oh, there you are. Okay.
But
got lost behind there. Well, here's a surprising answer, and it's in my story. If anybody, I've written a companion story that was in last week's paper that you can take home if you haven't read it. 3 out of the 4 people, including 2 of them, were held the entire time, from October 7th all the way until this past October when they were released. So 2 of the younger people, and Keith, who was held for over 400 days, they all expressed hope for peace. They believe in peace. Keith said he's going to make it his life commitment to have peace. He feels like it's very, very necessary. And the other 2 said, why not? You make peace with your enemy, right? They don't believe that you can have peace with Hamas, but I don't know too many people who can believe that if you read what they say or watch what they do. But yeah, I think that they. I think it's already 2.5 years since October 7th, and there's always been I would say a majority of Israelis, and maybe you can correct me, who really want peace. They need to have peace and quiet, and they want to get on with their lives. I'd say it's around a majority. It's going to be hard because there's a lot of distrust now. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of feelings of revenge among both peoples. Not so much revenge. Mistrust.
But not revenge. You need a lot of energy for revenge.
I think the Palestinians have a little energy for that still.
Yeah, but I think you're talking about Israel.
Yeah, Israelis too. I was talking about both sides. I think it'd be harder, to be honest, with the Palestinians. Just if we're talking peace, they're going to have to revamp their education system. They're going to have to teach people that Israelis are not the sons of monkeys and pigs. I mean, they really do believe this. As you could hear how they were greeted when they were brought to Gaza. And Israel's going to have to change too. It's going to have to change the way it looks at its neighbors.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Yes.
It's a big subject.
Yes, but in saying so, you put in both an equal responsibility on both sides.
I think there is.
I think it's not symmetrical at all, and that's a mistake that my students are doing. They think that it's a conflict, an equal conflict.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is irrelevant.
So I disagree.
Okay.
Yes, my opinion is different.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
Lucas Adasco, Marblehead Current. Just wondering, for you at least, what does peace look like? We've heard a lot about. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to ask you to solve Israel-Palestine in 5 seconds. I mean,
Yeah.
This isn't a beauty pageant where that happens. But just kind of explain, what do you think peace is going to have to look like?
Whatever I say it's going to look like, it will not look like. I can guarantee that. But I know one thing. I've interviewed a lot of Israelis and Palestinians, and Israelis at very high levels who ran the Shin Bet, who ran the Mossad, Palestinians at very high levels who are dovish, and they all say the same thing, which is we have two choices. We wage perpetual war against one another, or we try peace. We try peace. I interviewed Ehud Olmert, the former prime minister, a couple of times. And he said, look, it's going to take a long time. There's going to be a lot of terrorism. But after about 50 years, it might work. So somebody's going to have to take a chance. But I don't think the time is now. I know it's not now.
Steve.
Yeah.
The 4 hostages you interviewed?
Yeah.
What was their vision of what peace looked like? Did they have a vision?
It's just they didn't get into it further than what I talked about. There's been all kinds of peace plans out there for 35 years now, 34 years since the Oslo Accords. I mean, Israel made peace with the Palestinians. Palestinians made peace with Israel. But that's null and void now. I don't know. Anyway, I think they just aspire for peace.
Let's see, is this working?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a lot of naivete in the United States, and I think there isn't a recognition of what hate speech has done and what say, Iraq sending people here in great numbers, professors, and who've really fed a lot of propaganda, and we're so worried about offending someone that we can't say these guys came here to organize, because on October 8th they were already out in the universities. So that's one thing. And one of the things that breaks my heart is that the people who were killed were the most pro-Palestinian. They were the most peaceful. And if I tell people who are so-called anti-Zionists, they don't even want to hear about it. Some of them, when I've talked to, like in California and places, really, Middle Easterners especially, who were very against Israel, they say there's no such thing. Like I say, these were socialists. No socialist. There can't be a Jewish socialist. So there's so much hatred. So to me, you have to disarm Hamas. That's number one. But there are actually people here who say, that they just can have any army they want. Sovereignty, have Hamas as their army. And if the price is eternal terrorism, no, we can't have that. So we can't, I don't think Israel wants to be vulnerable like that. They're not, because it was, and there should be, of course, an inquiry about how Netanyahu let this happen. And was it a coincidence that these were all left-wing people who were left exposed like that?
It's not a serious question in Israel. It's here. It's a very extreme conspiracy that a very few minority believe in. We can't hear you. The idea of that the people. There is a conspiracy by extremists, which is the one in Israel, but these are considered very extremist, and just like here, people, that say that the Twin Towers were done by Israel. So it's so it's a conspiracy to say that it happened to lefties because the government let them die. It's a very sick conspiracy that very few believe in. So it's very interesting, just like very extreme ideas from, I don't know how to describe these people, from people that have agenda that is very dangerous, just like anti-Semite agenda, come to here and they take a lot of room. It's so unproportionate. There is an inquiry. There is right now. There is an inquiry by the army all the time, and now there is a huge debate that tears the people of Israel, of what is going to be the committee that will decide the researchers. There are 3 suggestions, and there is a huge debate. So it's not the case that people are not inquiring. And by the way, every battalion, every group of soldiers, every head of group is researching, and there is tons of data. Yeah. May I use the mic just to ask a technical question? I come from speech pathology. That's my profession. Why did you choose to allow Yosef, who speaks very not great English, to speak in English, while Hebrew is a stronger and more expressive language? He wanted to speak in English. Yeah, I thought so.
You know Israelis, everybody wants to talk English, right? Okay, one more question. Go ahead. Hi.
I think that things are digressing a little bit, and I'd really like to get back to what this was all about tonight. And the horrific event that happened, the massacre, the horrific things that happened to the Chatufim and what they're going through now, this hasn't stopped for them. They're continuing moment to moment to moment. The ones that actually weren't murdered and came back. And life is really horrible for them. There's so much PTSD, there's suicides, there's all sorts of horrible things in the future for all of these people and their families. And I think one thing that everybody could really do is really embrace the Chatufim, the hostages, now. It's something to really grab onto. They're writing books. I know Elkanah, he just wrote a book. Was it 738? How many days that he was there? And when I was in Israel a few times, and when I was there, and a lot of them were coming back last January, not this, also I was there this January, but the January before, it's just horrendous, the kinds of things that keep showing up and coming out. And it's all over the Israeli news, constantly. It's every day. Everybody's living with it. Nobody has stopped. Nobody has a moment of rest. And right now, all my friends and family are just waiting and waiting. It's a terrible feeling for Iran, for the war, which is coming. And it's never ending. So if you want to continue with this really important thing that you're doing, which I think is amazing, what about fundraisers for the Hatufim? What about helping them? They still need help, and they're going to need help for the rest of their lives. And Elkanah, his little boy, think of what's going on with them every single day, what they're living through, their nightmares, constant nightmares, and they'll probably never work again. They won't be able to maybe function. And this is everywhere. And everybody in Israel thinks about this and cares about this. And that's related to the topic of what you're doing tonight. All these other political comments and everything, it just digresses. It just takes away. Everybody has an opinion. But really what we really ought to be doing is embracing these hostages, the ones that are alive.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much, Rob.
Thank you.
So inspired by you. It's pretty amazing the work you do.
Oh, thanks.